In this tutorial, we will be demonstrating how to audit historical virtual desktop sessions within your virtual desktop environment using the VDI ToolKit. So why can auditing be useful? Well, here's a couple examples, although there's many, right? So it helps with troubleshooting issues. So how can it help with troubleshooting? Well, let's give a few examples. We've all been there before, right? Help desk puts in a ticket saying user ABC is complaining about their virtual desktop performance or whatever. What usually ensues is a slew of questions such as what protocol are they using? What pool was it on? Was it internal or external? What type of client, etc. And most times the help desk didn't understand the importance of these items and didn't get. So you have nothing to go off of. With auditing, questions such as these are easily answered, and all you need is the user and the time frame. Let's give one more example. Let's say you work at a hospital and a doctor calls and says the mouse or medical dictation microphone wasn't working for one of the 0 clients on the 3rd floor of the hospital. When asked which one for the client, the doctor says they don't know. So you basically don't know what client it was they were on. Well, that could be difficult, right? If there's 30 clients on that floor that the doctor could have logged into. So once again, with auditing, you could easily trace which client they were on to help narrow your search down when going to fix issues like that. It also helps with customer service issues. And an example would be using auditing to find out who was working at a workstation while helping a customer who had a customer complaint but didn't get the name of the employee that helped them. It also helps with compliance. So there are huge requirements for organizations in certain verticals such as healthcare and banking, etc. And having a means of auditing can aid in compliance. It also helps with hunting down security issues. So let's say someone's user account was compromised, and with auditing, it could be helpful in finding out when logins were occurring with that user, and if they were external or internal. And if they were external, what was the external IP address? That could help in narrowing or tracing that down. So what information does the VDI Toolkit provide? It provides detailed information about each session, which we will show in the demonstration. It's too much to list here, but we'll show in the demo. It also shows a history of the disconnects and reconnects, when the session ended, when the session connected initially. It also has historical performance data. Now, please note we're not going to demo that or go over the historical performance data, so please watch the video tutorial on historical performance data. And it also shows login times. So just so you know, the time they logged in and stuff like that, yes, but when I say login times, we're actually talking about how long it took for them to log in, because that's usually a huge pain point in virtual desktop environments, people saying that it took too long to log into their virtual desktop session. So we also have that information as well. And so up next, we will demonstrate how to audit historical virtual desktop sessions using the VDI Toolkit. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So what we'll want to do is go ahead and open up the management console. So we'll go ahead and do that. And I have it running on a virtual desktop here. So I'll go ahead and open up the management console. Once that's open, I'll go ahead and expand, and I'll navigate to sessions and then historical, and it'll grab the first 50 that it sees. So just to kind of go over some of the data that we're getting here first. So this icon right here is a button, and it can view the historical performance metrics. We're not going to go over that in this tutorial, but just watch the tutorial on historical performance metrics to be able to see about that. So the information we have last protocol. Why are we saying last? Well, because multiple protocols could be used in a session, right? Somebody could disconnect, reconnect from different clients, whether it be iPads, iOS devices, Android, desktop, 0 client, whatever. And they could use different protocols from those. So we have the date it started and it ended for the session, and the total duration here in days, hours, and minutes. And then we also have a login here. This is the amount of time it took for them to actually log into the virtual desktop. So if somebody's telling you they're complaining about their login times, you can go and actually see, hey, how long is it actually taking them to log into the virtual desktop? The ended code, what that is how the session ended. So normal is the session ended normally. It was logged off. The other ones that you can see here are error, which you should technically never see. Error would be if the actual client crashed on the workstation. And there are means by the client that's running on the virtual desktop when it crashes to go ahead and restart the client if there was ever an issue like that. And you can watch the video tutorial on the client to get more information about that. So then we have user, virtual desktop, and last client. So what's going on here? Why are they different? So with these items, they're linked to items that are synchronized, and we call them rule qualifiers. And that's just 3 of them: user, virtual desktop, and last client. And if it's not linked to something that already exists in the database that's been synchronized, it'll show you here just to kind of show you. So if you have your clients, let's say, and you're synchronizing your clients with the VDI ToolKit, which that's in the rule qualifiers video tutorial, you can see that. While you're syncing those, if you're keeping all your stuff synced, then you'll know, hey, this is from something that's not normal. Maybe it's a new client that was pushed out or something like that. Or maybe it'll give you a cue that it was maybe an external client from an employee that works from home. So next, and so when it is not linked to one in the database, that's when you'll get the red. And then next we have different clients. That basically tells you how many different clients they worked from. So if they were disconnecting and reconnecting from multiple clients, you could see right there how many different clients there were. We also have the pool right there where it tells you what the name of the desktop pool. Last client type. So Windows would be like if they were running the View client on Windows. You know, there's iOS, Android. This is top one's Teradici PCIP, which is a 0 client. So obviously that was using the PCIP protocol, right? We also show the last connection server that they hit to connect to their virtual desktop, and then the number of trouble snaps. Now, for trouble snaps, there's a tutorial on trouble snaps, and you should watch that. We're not going to go over that in this tutorial, but it's really informative, and you should check it out. It's one of my favorite features of this. Okay, so now we have that kind of explained. Let's go over some of the options you have for searching on here, right? So you can just do a predictive search text right here. So I could go ahead and say, let's see, VDI ToolKit user. And if you'll notice, I'm not pressing anything and it's automatically doing the search. So it'll automatically search after you type, or you can press enter to trigger it immediately. And you can see, and I can search off of anything. So here, let's see, I'll go ahead and now search off the client. And we can see there. So that's just to kind of give you an idea on the search that you can go and you can search. And then we also have this right here, this ellipsis. And if you expand that, you'll see that we can actually implement ranges for the start date, for the end date. We can actually say search user only, search client only, search virtual desktop only. And we can also do a search exact only, which will only return items that exactly match your search term. Okay, so that's that on the searching. Now what else can we do with these? So you can either double click or you can right click on and you can hit view details. And if you hit view details, that'll open up the view details window. And as we can see, it has details on the session. I kind of scroll down and see it's a lot of the same information, but there's some more detailed information like here, what Active Directory user ID it's linked to. If it, let's see. Last connection server. Okay, number of trouble snaps. Okay, the next thing we have here is log on. With log on, this will give you a breakdown of the login time and what was going on. So it'll tell you exactly how long it took, and it'll also tell you how long the user profile took to load, how long group policy took to process, and how long group policy scripts took to run, which can all impact login times. These numbers won't add up to be the same because there are more details that are in the login. These are the only ones that we capture that we think are most important, and then add those for that. Next, we have the Session State Changes tab. And so with the Session State Changes tab, it gives you kind of an overview of every time they connected. And if they had reconnects, you would actually see it say reconnected there. And so you'd see connected, reconnected, disconnected, reconnected, ended. So you'll see all the events of connected, disconnected, reconnected, and ending. And then it will tell you the client that they were connected from and the protocol and what time those changes occurred. So you can kind of get an idea of, okay, they were working here, they disconnected, came and started working over here, or something along those lines. Now, if you'll notice this button right here for the view the session information, this will give you a breakdown of everything that's gathered. So like here we have the connection server, we have the domain name, we have the farm ID, which is the same as the pool, whether it was internal or external, the broker remote IP address, the username, user broker URL, some of these other items, which sometimes, depending on how you're connecting from, these are not populated. Like, so on this one was connected from a 0 client, so these are not populated. The view client IP address, the MAC address of the client that they connected from, the actual name of the client, the host name of the client. That's the machine domain. So that was logged in from the same domain, but if somebody was on a different domain logging into your domain that you're running your virtual desktop environment on, you'd see that there as well too. Protocol, the view client type, the virtual desktop name, SAM account name of the user. I mean, pretty much everything that you could want in here. The view client IP address is really good because if they're connecting externally, that'll be the external IP address that was that they connected from. So that can be good if you're trying to track anything or get that to go back and look at logs in your firewall or something along those lines. So like, let's say a user was compromised, you know they were compromised, you can come here and see all their login activity when they were connected, you know, during that time period, and correlate with that user when it was actually them versus it could have been, you know, a bad actor, right? And then in those cases, chances are, hopefully the bad actor is not on your internal network, but if they were able to access it externally, you could see that external IP address, and that might help you. Let's see. So that's pretty much it with that. We can close that, and you can view each session information for each event that occurred. The last tab here is the Trouble Snaps tab. There are no trouble snaps on this one, but that lets you navigate to it and download any trouble snaps that were taken during that session. And once again, not going over that here. So if you want to know more about that, please watch the video tutorial on trouble snaps. Like I said, it's one of my favorite features of this. So we'll go ahead and close this. Okay, and just to show you too, if you right click here and you click on view session state changes, it'll bring you right to that point with the session state changes that occurred. Go ahead and close this. Also too, whenever you're doing a search and there's more than 50 items, and this is for performance reasons, just to make sure it always performs fast on your searches, it only grabs 50 items. But you can actually take, and this is the page right here, and you can page right, and that'll bring you to different pages. So you can navigate to whichever page you want if there's multiple search results in your paging. Okay, last I want to show you two here. Down at the bottom, it shows total historical sessions. So here we see we have 15,796. So the total historical sessions lets you know how many historical sessions there are that are stored. So that's good if you just kind of have an idea what your utilization's like and things like that. Now, obviously, the session data could grow infinitely, right, and cause issues. So There is a purging mechanism in place, and watch the video tutorial on the server settings to be able to see how often to purge that. So like, let's say you want to keep it 365 days, you can set to how many ever days you want to keep this data for. Well, that pretty much sums it up. I hope you found this tutorial useful, and thank you.